Barcelona, October 2025. The city awakens under a low, damp autumn sky that clings to the sidewalks of Los Ramblas and the walls of Camp Nou. In the cafés of Leeksample, between cortados and slices of pan con tomate, one question stirs conversations. Who will wear the number 9 next season? The decision not to renew Robert Lewandowski's contract, announced as a painful inevitability, has left a void, not just in the squad, but in the collective imagination of the Cules. The Pole, despite criticism of his physical decline, remained a symbol, the last remnant of an era when Barça could still afford established stars. Now, a choice must be made. And this choice is tearing the club apart. In the hushed offices of the boardroom, debates rage. Two names clash: Julian Alvarez, the cunning Argentine from Manchester City, and Erling Haaland, the monstrous Norwegian from Borussia Dortmund. Two profiles, two philosophies, two visions of football. One embodies continuity, collective intelligence, and immediate adaptation to a system. The other represents rupture, brute efficiency, and a bet on the future. But beyond statistics and YouTube highlights, it is the soul of Barça that is at stake. Here, a striker is never just a goal scorer. They are a symbol. To understand the urgency of this choice, we must go back. August 2022, Robert Lewandowski arrives at Camp Nou, fresh from his exploits at Bayern Munich, with the impossible mission of succeeding Messi in the hearts of the fans. It was a signal, recalls a journalist from Mundo Deportivo. After years of financial and sporting crisis, Barça showed it could still attract the best. But the dream quickly turned into a nightmare. First, there were the goals. Many at first. Then fewer and fewer. Lewandowski is like an old wine, sums up a former player. At first, you taste all the complexity, the power. But over time, it turns sour. Criticism began to pour in: too slow, not involved enough in the game, a luxury number 9 for a Barça that can no longer afford its ambitions. Worse, there were injuries. Calves giving out, muscles refusing to cooperate. At 35, the body doesn't lie, explains a club physiotherapist. Even with the best preparation, there's wear and tear. Then, there was the affair, never officially confirmed, of tensions with Xavi. Lewandowski wanted to be the center of the game, like at Bayern, confides a source close to the coach. But here, the center is the collective. Even Messi had to adapt. Tactical disagreements piled up. He complained when asked to press, to track back and defend, remembers a teammate. He's always been a pure finisher, not a shadow worker. Finally, the decision was made, cold and final: we're not renewing. It was a question of consistency, justifies a director. We're rebuilding with young players, an identity. Lewandowski was the past. Yet, in the stands, the emotion is palpable. It's the end of an era, murmurs a supporter, eyes fixed on the Pole's jersey, hanging in a corner of the locker room. Even if he wasn't the same, he gave us chills. In the backstage of Camp Nou, they call him the silent Argentine. Julian Alvarez, 25 years old, 1.78 meters tall, with a shy smile and feet that always seem to know where to go. He's the kind of player who doesn't make noise but solves everything, explains a La Masia scout. Exactly what we need. His journey is that of a late bloomer. Trained at River Plate, it took him time to explode onto the scene. In Argentina, they said he didn't have the level for Europe, recalls a scout. Then Pep Guardiola took him to Manchester City, and everything changed. Under the Catalans' orders, Alvarez mastered the art of the invisible. He doesn't score 40 goals a season, but he sets up 20 for others. He's a system player, analyzes a tactician. He understands space, timing. At Barça, with PEDRI, GAVI, YAMAL, he could be perfect. His biggest asset? He already speaks Spanish, knows La Liga, emphasizes a director. No adaptation period. He could arrive and play right away. And then there's his human profile. He's a simple, hard-working kid, confides a City teammate. No star attitude. Just the desire to win. In a locker room where egos have often exploded, see Lewandowski, Griezmann, Coutinho, this is a weighty argument. Yet doubts remain. Does he have the level to be the number 9 of a great Barça? Wonders a former club striker. He doesn't have Haaland's physique or Suarez's charisma. But Barça no longer needs a monster, retorts an analyst. We need a player who makes the team play. Alvarez is that. Scene, a Camp Nou office, late evening. The blinds are down, the glow of screens reflects on the tired faces of the directors. A PowerPoint displays, Julian Alvarez, tactical analysis. Diagrams, arrows, and percentages of successful passes fill the screen. Look here, says an analyst, pointing to a sequence against Real Madrid. He drops deep, draws two defenders, and gives the ball to Rodri, who launches the counterattack. That's exactly what we want, a number 9 who participates, not one who waits. Silence. Then, a skeptical voice. But will the fans vibe for him? A number 9 at Barça is also a question of passion. On the other side of the scale, there is him. Erling Haaland. 1.94 meters tall, 94 kilos, a vertical leap that defies the laws of physics, and a carnivorous smile that terrifies defenders. He's a weapon of mass destruction, sums up an opposing coach. The kind of player who can change a season single-handedly. His resume is a catalogue of records. 20 goals in a single Champions League season, hat-tricks in succession, an average of almost a goal per game since his professional debut. With him, we're sure of one thing: we'll score, argues a Barça director. And today, that's our main problem. Because Barça, since Messi's departure, has struggled to strike fear into defenses. We've lost our ability to kill off games, admits a veteran. Haaland kills. But behind the goal machine lie questions. Can he play in our system? Wonders a member of the technical staff. Barça is about possession, short passing, and build-up play. Haaland is about balls in behind, shots from 20 meters, and physical duels. We can adapt, counters another. Look at Dortmund. He played with technical midfielders, and it worked. Then there's the question of integration. Haaland is a loner, explains a Norwegian journalist. He doesn't need others to shine. Can that work in a locker room where everything is based on collectivity? And then there's his father, Alfinga, adds a club historian. A former player with a strong character. That could create tensions. Finally, there's the financial argument. Haaland is a long-term investment, emphasizes a club economist. Alvarez is an immediate, cheaper solution. But Haaland is a huge marketing coup, counters a sponsorship specialist. Jerseys, subscriptions, TV rights. He'd pay for himself. Scene, a restaurant terrace at the port of Barcelona. Two executives discuss, a glass of wine in hand. Do you remember Zlatan? One says. A monster, technically incredible, but a human disaster. The other smiles. Haaland is the same, except worse. Because with Zlatan, at least we had a laugh. A silence. But damn, the goals he would score for us. If the management hesitates, the fans have already chosen their side. Alvarez is Barça, the purists declare. A system player, trained in the Guardiola school. Exactly what we've always been. Haaland is a betrayal of our DNA, adds a longtime season ticket holder. We become like the others, a club that buys goals off the shelf. On the other hand, the pragmatists retort. Barça has changed. Football has changed. We can no longer afford the luxury of philosophy, asserts a young supporter. We need results. Haaland guarantees 30 goals a season. And then what? Another replies. We become Real Madrid, a trophy factory with no soul. The debates ignite forums, bars, and WhatsApp groups. Do you prefer a player who scores 20 goals and makes the team play, or one who scores 40 but never touches the ball? Do you prefer winning 1-0 and being bored, or losing 3-2 and having fun? Questions fly, with no clear answer. Scene, a bar in the Gothic Quarter, late at night. Two friends, wearing Barça jerseys, discuss over a beer. Do you remember the 2008-2009 season? One asks. Messi, Eto'o, Henry. The three of them scored more than the entire Liga. Yes, but it was football magic. Today, we don't have Messi anymore. So if we can have Haaland. No. Barça is more than goals. It's a way of playing. A silence. Then one of them raises his glass. Well, in the meantime, we still have Yamal. Visca el Barça. In the shadows of the spotlights, the Barcelona machine keeps turning. Scouts compile reports, analysts dissect hours of video, agents negotiate. Every detail counts, explains a member of the Football Intelligence Department. We look at everything: running speed, number of sprints per match, pressing ability, injury resistance. For Alvarez, the arguments are solid. He has already played with creative midfielders like De Bruyne or Silva. He knows how to blend into a collective. He has experience in big matches. And he is ambidextrous, a huge asset for varying the game. For Haaland, the numbers speak for themselves. 0.9 goals per game in his career. A vertical leap of 78 centimeters. No defender can keep up. A steel mentality. He scored against Bayern at 19, without flinching. And he's only 25. We can keep him for 7 to 8 years. But beyond the stats, it's a question of balance. If we take Haaland, we have to rethink everything, explains an assistant coach. Crosses, through passes, defense. We can't play high anymore because he won't come back. With Alvarez, we keep our identity. But do we win? Win how? By being bored. Scene: a secret meeting in a hotel near the airport. The executives, Xavi, and even Joan Laporta are gathered. A giant screen displays two names, Alvarez/Haaland. Gentlemen, we can't afford to make a mistake, Laporta begins. This decision will define the next 5 years. A silence. Then Xavi speaks. I want a player who understands our game. Not a player for whom we have to adapt our game. But Xavi, a director interjects, we might be talking about the best striker of the decade. The best striker doesn't make the best team, the coach retorts. Ask Messi. So, Alvarez or Haaland? The answer, perhaps, is not in the numbers or tactical debates. It's in the soul of Barça. This club has always been about balance, explains a historian. Between dream and reality. Between art and efficiency. If we choose Alvarez, we tell the world, Barça is still Barça. We play as we always have, even if we lose. If we choose Haaland, we say, we have changed. We want to win, no matter the cost. In both cases, we take a risk. Perhaps the real question is not which one is better, but what kind of Barça do we want to be? The one that resists, clings to its values, even in the storm? Or the one that adapts, reinvents itself, even if it means giving up part of its identity? Anyway, murmurs an old supporter, sitting on a bench facing Camp Nou, football is like life. We think we choose, but often it's destiny that decides. And somewhere, within the walls of Camp Nou, a decision is being prepared. A decision that, whether good or bad, will resonate throughout Catalonia. Més que un club. More than a club. Always,